Hi guys, it's Mrs. Cooke. Here I am at home in my comfy clothes. I thought I would share a book with you. All of my good books are at school, so I picked one off the bookshelf behind me that I thought you might like because you probably haven't heard it before. It is called Ace Lacewing, Bug Detective, and it is a mystery, and Ace Lacewing is trying to save Queenie Bee. And there is a list of suspects that he is using to try to get to her. So it's different. You probably haven't heard it before. Here we go. It was a night like any other night in the city. Hot and sticky. Great weather if you're a bug. Everyone's a bug in Motham City. Some good, some bad. But bugs are my business. I was in my office eating some aphid lo mein when the phone buzzed. I answered it. Ace Lacewing, bug detective. It was Mayor Busby. Behind him, it sounded like a beehive of activity. Actually, it was a beehive. What's the buzz? I asked. Ace, said the mayor. I'm at the hive rise with Princess Pollen. Queenie Bee's been kidnapped. Get over here now. Queenie Bee? Kidnapped? Who would do a thing like that? Everyone loved Queenie and her sister Princess Pollen. The Hive Rise Honey Company made the best honey in town. Maybe someone thought it was too good. I was just about to fly out the door when I saw her standing there, like a moth drawn to a flame. Actually, I was her flame, but she was no moth. She was the lovely, rare butterfly, Xerxes Blue. Dr. Xerxes Blue. Not the kind of doctor who takes your tonsils out, the kind of doctor who studies bugs. Dead bugs. No time now, I said. The mayor needs my help. But those eyes weren't taking no for an answer. Oh, Acey, she said, how about dinner at my place tonight? Just you and me. I'm making your favorite aphids a la mode. How could I resist? Aphids have been my favorite ever since I was a little larva. But I also liked honey, which reminded me. The aphids will have to stew, sweetheart, I said. Queenie Bees in a honey of a jam. Downtown, the traffic was crawling. That's what traffic does in Motham. It really crawls. Hey, Ace. It was Sergeant Zito, a mosquito, and a cop. I've known him ever since we were pupae at the same school. What do you know, Zito? I asked. We have a couple of witnesses, Ace, but none of them are talking, except this little maggot. I saw the whole thing, cried the maggot. I was crawling around, minding my own business, when all of a sudden I heard all this screaming. I thought maybe it was a damselfly in distress. But then I looked up, and I saw him right outside the hive rise. A couple of hooded bugs running off with Queenie Bee. Ace, Zito leaned over and whispered, you believe this maggot? How could he have seen anything? He doesn't have any eyes. I frowned. Which way did they go? What do I look like, a tour guide? Squirmed the maggot. I should have known better than to ask directions from a bug with no arms or legs. I told Zito to start rounding up suspects. I looked around and noticed a suspicious trail of honey leading away from the crime scene. I followed it. At the corner of Tomato and Vine, I stopped in my tracks. The honey trail led to the beetle zoo. Lacewings have lost their heads to beetles. But I was on a case, and there was a plate of hot aphids waiting for me at the end of it. The trail went through the broken gate, and so did I. The honey led past the giraffe weevils. It was hive rise honey, all right, still warm. I heard a noise, stood up, and froze. Someone had let the tiger beetle out of his cage, and this guy didn't want to play. He wanted to eat. I did the only thing a bug detective worth its wings would do. I screamed and ran, smack into a wall. I heard a familiar flutter of wings, and then the world went to sleep. Wake up, Ace. My head spun like a whirligig in a whirlpool. I tried to stand up and found myself face to face with a stick, a walking stick. You don't look too good, Ace, Twig said. But if Xerxes hadn't saved your sorry thorax, you wouldn't have any looks at all. Yuck, yuck. Acey, said Xerxes, that was a nasty hit you took. Ah, it could have been worse, I groaned. It could have been a windshield on the interstate. I was lying in a corner of the police station. Behind Sergeant Zito, Xerxes, and the maggot, a bunch of handcuffed roaches and other pests were waiting to be questioned. Everyone had an alibi. The roaches said, of course, they ran from the scene of the crime. It was their nature to scatter when the lights go on. Why do you think we wear sunglasses? They asked. Before we could question the cicada, he molted and flew out the window. Twig couldn't have run anywhere. He was a walking stick. We brought in Smooch, the assassin bug. No one wanted to get near his kisser. We decided to call it a night. The full moon hung in the sky like a large compound eye as we left the police station. Psst! Hey, Lacewing, a voice whispered from the shadows. I know who's got Queenie and why. Who are you? I asked. A drone who knows the truth, he whispered. But there are too many eyes and too many antennae around here. Let's go someplace where we can talk in private. We never got the chance. It happened quick as a cricket. A drive-by gassing. Hit the dirt, I shouted, but it was too late for the bee. I couldn't make out the driver, but the other one was no doubt a bombardier beetle. I could tell by the smell. I wondered if he had a license to pass gas. I checked the bee. He wasn't moving, but he was trying to say something. I lowered my ear to his mouth. Drone honeyworks, he moaned, and then no more. Al the drone, I muttered to myself. Al the drone? Said Zito. Oh no, not Al the drone. Please don't let it be Al the drone. Anybody but Al the drone. Ace? Yeah? Who's Al the drone? Al the drone owns Drone Honeyworks, I said. Some bugs say he has his sticky little mandibles in more than just honey. I think we should pay Mr. Drone a visit. Xerxes worked on the bee as Zito and I took off across town. Outside Drone Honeyworks, the smell of honey hung thicker in the air than ants on a popsicle stick. Savage mantises kept guard. As we crawled around the back of the building, I got a sick feeling in my gut. The back gate of the beetle zoo was right across the street, and the trail of honey led from the zoo to the honeyworks. We needed a way in, but how? Two dung beetles were making their way up the street, rolling their dung ball and collecting trash. They rolled up next to us. You thinking what I'm thinking? I whispered to Zito. The dung beetles were too busy to notice us. Oh no, Ace, not the dung, said Zito. Hold your breath, I said. As we leapt onto the dung ball, we rolled right past a mantis into the honeyworks. I peered in a window. What I saw made my antennae quiver. In the shadows, I saw someone tied up and blindfolded. It looked like Queenie. She sure wasn't getting the royal treatment here. Ace, said Zito. We got company. One of the mantises had followed our dung prints. He didn't look too happy. Neither were we when he tied us up and carried us inside. Inside, the aroma of honey and pollen was sickeningly sweet. I've been in hives before. You can tell a good hive by the buzz of the bees. The buzz in here was not good. The mantis looked as if he were in a trance as he toted us past rows and rows of honeycomb. Standing in the shadows was Al the drone. "Hey, boss," croaked the mantis. "Look what I found snooping around outside." "Well, well, if it ain't the little Lacewing and his blood-sucking friend," said the drone. "That's a common misconception. Actually, it's the female who..." "Ugh!" Zito groaned as the mantis's claw tightened around him. "I know you got Queenie here, drone," I finally squeaked. My eyes ran from all the pollen. "You'll never get away with it." "Funny," said the drone. "That's the same thing Queenie said to me, and look where she is now." He pointed behind him. I couldn't believe my eyes. Queenie was stuffed into a honeycomb, alive, but not for long. If Queenie was holding her breath in the honeycomb, then who was tied up in the next room? All this and the stench of honey made my head spin. I tried to put the facts together, but they wouldn't fit. Who was the mystery bug in the shadows, and why did the drone smell of pollen? Pollen, that was it. The clues clicked together in my head like a skipjack beetle. "Any last words, Lacewing?" the drone muttered. "Yeah, since when do drones gather pollen?" The whole place went quiet. "Ha, you're clever, Lacewing. Clever, clever, clever," said the drone, emerging from the shadows, tossing hat and coat aside. "Princess Pollen?" Zito stuttered. "In the exoskeleton," she announced triumphantly. "But why?" I asked. "Because I'm sick of just being a princess. I want to be queen." She stomped, mad as a hornet. "It's always Queenie bee this and Queenie bee that. I'll never have my own hive with her around. So I'm making it look like Sleazy Al the drone got rid of her. You guessed it, Lacewing, that's him, tied up in the back room. With Queenie and drone honeyworks gone, I'll be queen of the town." As for the mantises, they won't remember a thing. I hypnotized them with my pollen dance. You're in a rather sticky situation, Lacewing, so see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Princess Paula made her way to the door. She signaled the mantises to seal us in the honeycombs. I had to think fast. Something fluttered overhead, so I shouted the only thing that made a mantis run for cover. "Bat!" The mantis threw us high in the air. We soared helplessly until whatever was flying above grabbed us. Are we still on for those aphids, AC? It wasn't a bat, it was Xerxes. She had rounded up every cop from here to Termite Heights and brought them to the honeyworks, saving my wings again. Dawn was emerging like a monarch from a chrysalis when Xerxes and I sat down for a plate of aphids a la mode. "Here's to blue wings and my favorite things," I said to my gal, and the city of Motham fluttered awake behind her. And that's the end. Mystery solved. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you guys are doing well at home. I miss you.